Well, let me get a couple of things set up here, getting ready for our talk today. How many laws are there? This whole month we had a theme of spiritual laws of prosperity. And I'm speaking about specifically how many laws are there. It just was a thought that struck me. Now, there is the law. You know, first thing I thought of when I saw the theme for the month was the law. You know, I bought the law and the law. That kind of law. Kind of like that. But I wanted to talk today about spiritual laws. Spiritual laws. And exactly how many are there? And then to talk a little bit about a few of them. Not too long ago, Claire had said to me, how many laws are there? We hear talk about it. How many spiritual laws are there? And could you list them for me so I could read them and I could know them? So I worked on that for a little while. Discovered that there are so many apparent laws that I never got to the end. To me, it kind of sounded like laws are out there for you to obey. There's a law. If you don't obey the law, you get a ticket. You know, sort of like speeding or talking in class. Sorry. And sometimes we get a fine attached to that. I had a nasty one once. The law says if you do this, the result is this. Sort of how the law works. You get a resulting consequence. Spiritual law is a little bit different than that, but it's very much the same. It is a fundamental order in the universe. The law of circulation. The law of cause and effect. How I wanted to begin today was a little bit different. Because talking about just the law could be a little bit dry, could be a little bit serious, could be a little bit too left brain, which I am sometimes. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an example of one of the laws that I discovered, that I made up. Now, many of you know me. I'm quiet, peaceful, shy guy, very contemplative, maybe even meditative in my demeanor, not real active. But every once in a while, I do something to surprise you and to challenge myself. And I'm going to do that today in talking about, giving you an example of this law I made up. So if you know me, bear with me. You may be wondering, what is he up to this time? And those that don't know me, just stay with it. It might be fun. See, the law says for every action, there is a reaction. So I'm going to play some music. This is the action. And then there will be a reaction. For sure by me. Maybe by you. You may find yourself wanting to get up. You may stay in your seat. But you will have a reaction. Kelly, I'm going to be on the move, so you need to be ready.
Lyle's going to get jiggy with it.
I'm going to get jiggy. What we're talking about is the law of dance. goodness.
He danced like a white man, Lyle.
It's like a man who has never danced before.
I can relate. I can relate.
So that's the law of dance. The law is from now on, Lyle does not dance. But the example is that this is about a law, a spiritual law. If there is an action, there is a reaction. You do something, something happens, there is an according and equal response to that. You were dancing. I saw some stand up, some were dancing in their seats. Some were looking at me like I was crazy. Now, physical laws, when we talk about physical laws, we're talking about laws of mechanics or gravitation or law of relativity. We're talking about thermodynamics, electromagnetism. We're talking about photonics or quantum mechanics. Those are the physical laws. Laws of radiation, all things like that. One morning I woke up after I'd started working on this. I was all exhausted. Action, reaction. And I woke up and I had this thing, law of flotation. And I'm like, but it sounded silly. I wrote it down. Later on, I looked it up, and my golly, there is a law of flotation. It said a floating object displaces its own weight of fluid in which it floats. It's like the law, same thing, law of buoyancy, law of flotation. Weight in equal weight displaced. Weight in, weight out. So you get the idea of where I'm going with this. So spiritual laws are like those laws, but you can't so readily measure them. You can't so readily see them. But they produce results too, maybe more so than the physical laws. They're equally as important. There are laws, some spiritual laws. Laws of attraction, laws of vibration, of prosperity, of reciprocity, of evolution, of harmony, of wisdom, laws of grace, laws of mental equivalence, laws of free will. Spiritual laws, you can't so easily measure or see, but they have resulting effects from a cause. Now, Reverend Alley said last week in her talk, she was referring to Edwin Gaines, the 4 Laws of Prosperity. And she said one of the things was know what you want. One of the laws, know what you want. And that it's not unspiritual to want things, to want anything. Actually, the law says, in order to receive, you must want. Another part of that was, be who you are. I was listening. Be who you are. You are a thinker. You are the thinker that thinks the thought that creates the thing.
You were listening.
I surprise her sometimes. I don't just sit in the back and count heads and do my books. Let's take a look at the law of mental equivalence. From the field of the mind to the field of the physics. Mental equivalence. From the mind to the body. Action and reaction. So you can be at work and you can be stressed. That's a mental thing, to be stressed just because of what's running through your head. Budget, schedule, time, money. It stresses you out. And all of that can get you stomach ache sometimes. Some people get stomach aches. Some people get headaches. Or worse, some unease comes out of it. Some dis-ease. The fix, staying in the physical world, sometimes we take drugs. We all do, I think. I did for a while, for stress. But we all also know, I think, that you're just treating the symptoms with that, with the physical, with the drugs. Not the cause. Not the original action that caused the reaction. And yes, if you cut your arm or break your leg, by golly, go get it fixed. And then call me for a quick healing. Get the stitches, get the leg set. But how about working from changing where it started? Your mental attitude, the original cause, going back to the way you think. Go to cause instead of sometimes we go into denial. Michael Guy in the, I guess it was last month, Science of Mind, he had an article in there and he talked a little bit about denial. He said, we in New Thought for so long have had the idea that we should completely avoid negative thinking, which is actually a denial of reality in favor of only positive affirmations. Except, sometimes you have to think of what is in your closet and let some of those things go in order to make room for something new. A new thought, maybe. Just deep enough thought. We deny any truth to our poverty. We deny any truth to our illness or isolation. And then we try to replace it without letting go of the old in favor of the new. We don't let go of our old, what do we call it? BS. Our old belief system in favor of something new. He further said, could it be that the desire you have for change is actually God seeking to share the gifts of love and health and prosperity that already exist? And you just need to clear out some of the old so let in the new. Yes? Maybe? See, the meaning of metaphysical means beyond the physical. Physical laws we can see, and there's measurable evidence of them. Gravity being the easiest. You can see the results of it. You can measure gravity. And everybody knows about that. And as a matter of fact, we all know so much about it, we take it for granted. You don't even have to think about acting accordingly. You know you don't park on a hill and don't put the brakes on or put it in park or turn the wheels in some way because you know what's going to happen. We're taught in school about the laws of physics. We're taught of the law of action and reaction, cause and effect. We're taught about Newton's third law of motion, which says for every action there is an opposite and equal reaction. So we know these things and we act accordingly to these physical laws that we understand. And it creates a much smoother ride in the physical plane where we spend much of our time. If we didn't, we would have a whole lot more insurance bills when we find the car at the bottom of the hill. You'd be placing a lot of claims, but you know that law and you obey it and life works better for you. Without understanding certain laws, we wouldn't be able to. We wouldn't have the cars or the airplanes, or we wouldn't be able to build a fire if we didn't understand certain physical laws. We wouldn't have our smartphones. I was without my smartphone for a couple of days when mine broke. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't find my way home.
You should have called me, Lyle.
I didn't have my phone. If you don't understand the laws, we wouldn't even have chemistry. We wouldn't be able to make soap. We wouldn't be able to heal the body, stitch it, and set the bones if we didn't understand some of that physiology, some of the physical laws. So without understanding the quantifiable laws, we can measure, that we can define and explain, life on the planet would be quite different. Now, the metaphysical laws are not so rarely seen, but are equally as important. Yet we pay very little attention to them. We don't get a lot of training in the areas of metaphysics, the field that we can't see or touch or measure. The law of circulation or reciprocity, sometimes known as what goes around comes around. Anger begets anger. Love attracts more love. We know this stuff, but we don't always practice it like we do parking that car. If you practice it equally to those things that you know, you would attract those things equally into your life. It's as real as gravity. What a difference it would make in our lives if we really got it. How important and how effective and how manifesting these spiritual laws are. Stranger in a Strange Land, if you've ever read that book from the last millennium. Did you really rock it? Did you really get it at the soul level? Did you really understand it? You give love, you get love. Anger begets anger. How about the law of harmony? This is a spiritual law. It is a law of supreme potential of balance. The purpose of balance is to attain harmony. Throw a rock in a pond, and you disturb the harmony of the pond. There are ripples that you cause, the effect of the splash and the ripples that flow out and back in this pond until harmony is restored. Same for us in life. Your disharmonious actions in life flow out into the universe and back onto you until eventually your own harmony is restored. Eventually, your own harmony will be restored. Scientists have proved that energy does not die. It can only transform. And by its very nature, energy must go forward or backwards, and it cannot stand still. You are energy. You may know that. You may know that when you look to the tiny molecules, cells, atoms, electrons in your body. You're energy. Your skin, which appears solid, is actually trillions of swiftly moving molecules orbiting each other at a very specific vibrational level. How about the law of abundance? Law of abundance kind of goes like this. And I'm not necessarily talking about money, but if you want to throw money into this law of abundance, go right ahead. Well, thank you, we can split it around. Our inner thinking or beliefs are mirrored back to us by our outer landscape. This is a spiritual law I'm talking about. It's a reflective universe, law of reciprocity, law of circulation. Your inner thinking or beliefs, your emotions, what you emote, are reflected back to you. It was said, what we believe we receive. It is done unto you as you believe. You reap what you sow. All of those things. For thousands of years they've been talking about this, and it's all saying the same thing. We just got to the point in history where we finally understand some of the laws that are occurring, or even are starting to have a glimmer of, that there is a spiritual law that is in work here, and you can use it to make a difference in your life. It's as real as gravity. Our job is to be in alignment with this truth and receive all that we truly want. That's our job. All the spiritual laws, they come down to basically one thing. I said in the beginning that there were so many laws, and I named off all of those spiritual laws. But it all comes down to one thing. We realized, Claire and I realized at one point, it's all cause and effect. One spiritual law that maybe probably covers it all. Cause and effect. Whether you're talking about physics, whether you're talking about spiritual law, whether you're talking about gravity or you're talking about God. Cause and effect. You have some way that you can affect your life, your situation, your circumstances, your emotions, your attitudes, how life comes to you, maybe one thing, how you respond to it is another. What you attract into it is another. And it may take some work. It may take some repetition. Those belief systems that you have that pretty much are your life now, you didn't get there just overnight or in a moment. You made a decision a long time ago and lived by those for the last 20 years, 30, 40, 60. So it does. I'm sorry, it takes a little work. Sometimes, yes, I know, I understand that there is divine inspiration and things happen instantly, immediately. My experience in life has been, it takes some time. You do the work. You read, you attend centers like this. You find friends that support you in what you want to accomplish in life. And you begin that spiritual journey. Spiritual isn't necessarily religious. Spiritual is your personal journey to find yourself, or your God, or whatever it is you're seeking. Your personal journey. So, time is at an end. The law of time says I must stop. I would like to close in prayer. You just settle in, close your eyes, and just know with me right now, for this moment, that there is one mind in the universe, one source, one ever-present power, one God, one Spirit. And this is a power greater than us, yet we can use it because we are part of the one. Being the one, being it all, includes us too. You don't stand there and look out and say it's out there. It is everything. It is us. So we are a point of expression of this one power. We are co-creators in our universe. We have thoughts and emotions that are energy that affect the world around us. So as we think, as we act, as we do, as we believe, good or bad, so we receive. Change your thinking, change your life. And I breathe into that, knowing its truth, and it pleases me. I have this faith that it is true. I have this hope of my life changing. I have friends for support. There is a way, and it goes through you. So just know that you are enough, that you are a lovable, loving person, that you make a difference, that you have the power and you have access to the power to change, that life is good all the time. And I give thanks for this. And in giving thanks, I receive the gift of this knowingness. And then I turn it over to the one source, to the one power. I let it go and I let go. And so it is.
So it is.